to heal. Today we're here to honor paramedics and the work they do to save lives. My guest today is Bernard. He will be sharing how his job affected him on a personal and spiritual level, about his struggle with alcoholism. Yet he's sober today, over a year and a half.
That is correct.
And he's still recovering from the effects of this type of work. So Bernard, tell us, what motivated you to get into the field of being a paramedic?
When I was younger, when I was 15, I ended up getting sick and I needed some surgery. I needed open heart surgery. And there was a young gentleman in the hospital in New York City where I was, and I believe his name was CB, is how I knew him. And just out of his own kindness, he would come by and sit down and talk, and even went out and rented a TV and DVD player and some movies for me. Well, back then it was VCR, and it showed me that, you know, just a complete stranger, how you can help somebody. I wanted to do something, and I wanted to help people. I wasn't interested in the family business. My father was a plumber for years, and I just wasn't interested in it. I wanted to do something. Well, back then also, was for me, mainly, it was an adrenaline rush too. You know, you'd see the things on TV, like Rescue, and the old TV shows with the paramedics, and, you know, was it Bill Cosby did one called Mother Jugs and Speed, a comedy on it, and it really interested me. I really got into it, and I enjoyed it. I just wanted to help people, is what I wanted to do.
Were you using any drugs or drinking at that time as a teenager?
I drink a little bit with my friends, you know, parties from school, you know, but nothing major. No, I mean, I never got in trouble back then. Mom and Dad would go out, and, you know, I'd sneak into their liquor cabinet, you know, and have a little drink or take one of Dad's beers or whatever, but nothing ever big. No.
Okay. So what did you see that alcohol started to become a problem for you then?
I didn't really think it was a problem at first. I honestly didn't. I just thought I was having a good time, you know. All my friends were going to the bars, you know, and we would meet people and talk, and I knew a lot of people. This is when I was living in New York still. I didn't think it was a problem. I just wanted to have fun, and it was fun at the time. It really was.
And were you working as a paramedic at that time?
I started as an EMT, an emergency medical technician. That's the first step.
That was the first step?
That's the first step.
How old were you when you started?
21.
Oh,
it was 21.
Okay.
I got my advanced first aid card out in Florida, New York, a little town, and I was a volunteer with the Goshen Volunteer Ambulance Corps in New York, where I lived. And I worked as an EMT for 4 years for a private service in Rockland County, which was a little bit south of where I was. And I was really getting into it, but I wanted to do more. Paramedics have to go back to school for 2 more years. It's a lot more in depth of what an EMT can do. And I wanted to do more, and I enjoyed it, and I liked helping people.
So how long were you actually working as a paramedic?
Altogether, with my EMT and as a paramedic, 21 years.
Oh, that's a long time.
Yeah.
But you shared as a teenager you wanted to be a paramedic, and you followed through. That's awesome.
I enjoyed it.
So share with us, what was it like for you? What was the struggle, and why did you leave it?
I left being a paramedic, I started taking things to heart too much, and I couldn't disassociate. I could not do the disassociation of, like, okay, it's my job, you know. It's like say you're working at a restaurant.
Yeah.
You got to serve tables, you know, you leave everything there. I would take my job home. I started taking things personally, and like, why didn't I save this person? Why couldn't I help this one? And at first it wasn't that bad. You know, it wasn't that hard to do that, you know. And you talk to senior medics and guys that have been doing it and women that have been doing it for years, and they teach you how to get through it. Yeah. But there's no support. That was the one thing that I learned after a while, that there's no support. There's no paramedic support group anywhere. If the job notices you're having a problem, they would hand you a card, the EAP, Employee Assistance Program. Go talk to them. But there is absolutely, I could not find, I Googled and searched everything, and there's no paramedic support group, just where paramedics and EMTs, firefighters can get together and talk about what they see. There wasn't anything.
Do they have that now?
I have yet to find one.
Well, that's an excellent idea.
I have yet to find one. And I started seeing things, and it just kept coming back, and my way out was drinking. I drank to forget. and I ended up drinking a lot. I got into brewing my own beer and fermenting my own alcohol.
And you were able to work too, though?
I was what I would call, or other people would call, a functioning alcoholic.
Okay.
Because I'd leave work, I'd drink beers on the way home in my car, on the way out at the station, and finish drinking until I passed out and go back to work the next night.
No blackouts or anything?
I've had blackouts, yes. Yeah. Yes, I have. I would drink to blackout. It wasn't just every once in a while, like if I knew I was driving, then I wouldn't. But then it got to the point where I didn't care that I was driving either. It got really bad. It really did.
You brought with you some stories about, you want to share a couple
The stories that I have in my photo album are when I started in EMS, Emergency Medical Services, when I started as an EMT in New York. I kept pictures and like stories that I've done that have made the newspaper.
Let me see those pictures. What are those pictures?
I have thank you letters actually written to me as well.
Oh, and these are?
These are some of the paramedics that I worked with and EMTs at my first job. One of the paramedics, his daughter has leukemia.
Oh,
And we did a function for her. It was called A Little Off the Top. And that was in 1996, and ever since then I've been shaving my head. I used to have long hair. Long time ago.
So that's how it started.
And that's how it started, yeah. And like I said, I have thank you letters from patients that I've taken care of and their families.
Aww.
I have, and all the stories that I've done that have made the newspaper.
What's this story here?
I was working in Middletown, New York, and it was a rainy night, and a little elderly woman was walking, got hit by a car from behind, and got killed on her way home with her groceries. And I mean, most of the...
No, that's not your fault. How did you take it on that it was your fault?
I feel like I should have been able to do more.
When you got there?
When you get there. But there
Was
are
she breathing?
times... There was nothing you can do.
So how do you take that on now? I mean, I'm not...
At the point, we would basically just make fun. We would joke about things. That was my coping mechanism. That's how a lot of us do it. We would be like, well, oh, wow, I can't believe we just ran over potatoes, and we would make jokes about things to ourselves. We wouldn't speak in front of the firefighters, the family, the police. This was just between my partner and myself.
So you would say to yourself, if I'd gotten there earlier, maybe I could have saved her, that kind of thinking? That
kind of thinking, as well as why was she out walking at night during the rain? Why was that guy? Why didn't we make the corner quick enough, just to maybe slow that guy down so he would see her? And that started running through. It didn't really bother me that much until when I started working really a lot in North Carolina. That's when I started doing a lot more than I did in New York.
And what happened there?
The list goes on. It goes on and on and on. And
we'll start with one thing on the list.
On the list, I mean, just going out to a call. We get called out. They would dispatch us in North Carolina in colors. Like code red was a shooting, blue was a CPR, cardiac arrest. Code black was a DOA. And one of the ones was we got called out for a shooting. And we're not allowed to go into the scene until the police clear it. Right. It ended up being a group of teenagers that were having a party, and two of the kids got into a fight. One pulled out a gun and shot the other one. Oh. And we got there and there was absolutely nothing I can do. Nothing. That was one of them. And another one, now that I'm sober, I can actually think back to when I really started drinking heavily, was when a mother murdered her newborn infant. Oh. Oh. That's when I started drinking a lot. And I thought about that a lot, and I just remember that whole night. I mean, I remember going through everything, going from this place to that place, to this place to that place, trying to figure out where this kid is. And finally we found out, and there was nothing we can do. And it was a full-term, beautiful baby boy. But they did catch her, and they did arrest her. So that put it a little bit at ease. But and that room, as you were talking about spirituality earlier, you were going to bring that into it. I'll bring it up. That ruined everything that I had about that. That's when I lost my faith. Yeah. That is absolutely when I lost my faith.
Where was God? Why did He allow
a newborn? Mm-hmm. And the one statement that bothers me the most is when someone says, "Oh, they're in a better place." Mm. Really? the child wasn't even an hour old.
Mm.
How can anything be a better place?
Yeah.
And that's when I took it to heart, and it started spiraling really bad. I was on that proverbial drain, you know, the Grim Reaper pulling me down the drain.
Right.
I was spiraling down at that point. And even then, I didn't realize it. I just that was my coping mechanism.
Right.
That's how I coped.
Yeah. You're 15 and you're looking at going into a job that you're going to save people, you're going to help people. Here you have this gentleman coming over, and that's literally what he's doing for you, and you're inside for you emotionally. Now you're on reality, you're out there on this job, and you're not saving. In fact, what's really happening, you're burying these people. You're just there to...
Yeah.
That's all you're seeing.
Prevent death.
But I'm sure there were a lot of people, though. Is there any stories where you helped, like you had the letters? I have
thank you letters from patients and family members that I've helped. That's far and few between.
Yeah.
You know, that's our job. You know.
As an alcohol and drug counselor, I do understand. I don't get people coming back saying, "Oh, I'm sober now."
I do. When I first started in recovery out here, Recovery for Life is where I went. And
What is Recovery for Life?
It's a program where it was critical thinking, healthy thinking classes, a treatment program,
okay.
And they helped me a lot. And I actually go back there and talk to them every now and then as well, just to say thank you. And I'd actually like to write letters to a couple people, even the judge for sentencing me to that.
How did you get sentenced? What happened there?
My last drunk.
Okay.
My last drunk. I ended up getting arrested that night and spent 100 days in the Ada County Hilton.
What were you arrested for?
Domestic violence.
What happened?
From what I remember is, I remember part of the day, I was having, I don't know why, but I was having a bad day about work, and my wife at the time, her and I were not doing very well. And I didn't want to work EMS anymore. I knew when I came out here from North Carolina, I did not want to do it. Yeah. I was done. And it was just push from her to get into it, and I didn't want to do it. So I decided I wanted a day myself. I wanted to drink.
Why was she pushing you to go back into that?
I don't know. I honestly, to this day, I don't know.
But you knew you were done.
I knew I was done. My last call I ran on an ambulance was April 20th, 2012. Yeah. That was my last call. My last shift, and I was done at that point.
So you two had an argument that day. You were drinking.
And I went out to the movies. I was drinking in the movie theater, and I came.
With her?
No, she was home working.
Okay.
She worked from home. And I remember taking the dog to the river, playing with my dog at the river, and then coming home, and next thing I know, I'm waking up and the police are knocking on the door.
You don't remember?
I don't remember anything. Nothing.
Okay.
And it was to that point, and at that point I was like, wow, what the heck happened? And I was reading the police reports. I never put my hands on her. It was just the yelling, the screaming, and I did some damage in the house. And that was it. Yeah. And that was my last drunk. And I was done at that point. Yeah, I was finished.
That was not you, you know.
No. I ended up having, at that night, from what I talked to friends of mine that I know, my Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde came out. Yeah. But most of the, I mean, even my friends in North Carolina that I used to drink with all the time, and my partners that I used to go out with and drink, they've never seen me mean before. I've always been the one that was either up, running around, cleaning the house, doing this, doing that, or watching TV or something, and I've never been violent, and I don't remember any of it.
You know, I'd wake up and they'd tell me what I did the night before, and I'd go, please don't tell me. But I, too, had gotten worse, where they were telling me I'd been hitting men. Now, women can get away with this, unfortunately, but they're not getting away with it today, so just don't feel alone. My drinking started to get worse, too, and I'd be hitting people when I was drunk, and I wouldn't remember it at all. Now, I didn't get arrested or anything like you, but... So then what happened after that? You got arrested?
I got arrested. I spent 100 days in jail, and a lot of people that I've talked to, they say that, you know, I lost everything. I don't... Since I've been going through the recovery, I don't consider losing everything. I gave it up. I chose drinking over my life. And I couldn't go a day without having a couple beers, you know, or on the weekends I'd drink until I passed out. You know, I gave up my life that I had for the drink.
What changed? What happened?
Waking up with 95 roommates, you know, ruining my career that I had, ruining my name, my family's name.
What do you mean ruining the career you had? You didn't want to go into
I didn't want to go, but I wanted to stay in the medical field somehow, but I wasn't sure. I did not want to be a paramedic, but this arrest ruined everything.
I see. Okay, gotcha. Okay.
The only good thing is that hopefully I can get it expunged
Right.
as long as I stay with my probation.
Okay.
And it just, I woke up, you know, I talked to a lot of other people. A lot of people still talk, I was like, I lost. No, I chose to drink over everything else. And it just got out of hand. It really did.
Yeah.
It really got out of hand. And finally I woke up, I saw the light. Made me go into to a 12-step program.
Yeah.
It made me wake up, and I wasn't alone.
They talk a lot about a higher power, though, in the 12-step programs, and you having a struggle with that.
I have a very big problem with it.
Yeah.
I will always have a problem with it.
Yeah.
Okay. What I look at is everything's, you know, it's a circle of life, you know. Life goes on, and everything starts one way and ends the next, you know. Mm-hmm. I live my life a breath at a time.
Right. And you know, there's a chapter in there that says we agnostics. Do you know that guy that helped with that chapter, the history? He stayed agnostic till he died, but he didn't drink. Do you know that? He helped with that chapter that's in the big book. It's called We Agnostics. So, but he hung around. He stayed with us. Yeah.
I'm going to stick around. Mm-hmm. I actually enjoy the program. I really do. It helps a lot.
Do you have a sponsor? Or?
No, I do not.
That's okay.
No, I don't.
Do you know why you don't?
Some of the people that I've talked to, that I've asked, they're very pushy on the spirituality. And I can't do it. I have the stories in here that have made the newspaper that I keep, and I have thousands more.
Do you know I didn't hear my brother say the word God for 5 years. It was like, does he believe in a higher power? We shouldn't be doing that to people. That's really sad. Have you ever thought about, or have you ever attended the SMART program?
No, I'm not familiar.
Okay, it's an excellent program, and I don't have time to go into what it is, but something to look into.
I'll look into it.
It's more cognitive thinking, changing the process. There's no spirituality and there's no higher power. I'm not saying not to believe in a higher power, because, you know, I do. I believe in God.
That's the
But
other
I'm just
thing.
saying whatever works for you and that you need, it's the most important thing. It's just something to think about.
I definitely will do that.
Yeah.
And that's the good thing about the 12-step is nobody judges anybody.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I enjoy about it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
I couldn't live without the belief in a higher power, but that's what saved me as a kid. So, of course, I'm not going to let that go. But it's changed through the years, and it's not what most people have going for themselves today. Mine's mine. And anyway, I'm not going to.
It's all good.
It's all good.
It's all good.
I heard this gentleman share that when he opened the doorknob was his higher power because it let him into the rooms.
And he felt welcome.
And in the rooms was the people was his, yeah, that's a good way of putting it too.
I agree, because I can totally agree with that, because I remember my first meeting. I was forced to go at first. The whole 90 and 90, I was forced to go, and I didn't want to, but the more I went, the more I enjoyed it. And you can tell your story. Mm-hmm. And nobody will judge you, nobody will look down on you, and because, I mean, that's the good thing about it. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, so that is your higher power, not higher power per se.
Support. It's a very good support.
Works.
It works for me.
So why fix it if it's working? That's what I think.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah. So if anybody's out there having a problem, just meet with our little Bernard here. He understands that area. So how would you approach working the steps then? Because a lot of the steps I've got in it, what would you do? Have you done a 4-step yet, or?
No.
That's okay.
No.
Have you thought about doing one?
I've thought about it. I mean, I did the whole search and moral inventory. I've done that, and
oh, then you've done
part of it.
Yeah.
I've done some. I haven't gone all. The making amends is really going to take a while. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've tried talking to some people that I've hurt in the past, and it's either a return to sender letter or, you know, Did you hang up on me? Yeah, it sounded like this, right? Click, and they hang up again.
Yeah.
So some damage cannot be redone.
That's true, but you're willing. That's all
I'd
that
like to
matters.
try.
That's
I'd
all it
really
says,
like to
as long
try.
as you're willing. That's all that matters. Clear it up the best you can.
Exactly.
But the first thing I would have on my list if I was you is to forgive you, because you did everything in your power. You need to get rid of that guilt that you did something wrong.
I have a hard time dealing with forgiving myself.
Yeah.
I still do. I don't think it's going to take a long time for me to forgive myself. And people I've talked to, they said, every morning wake up, say, Bernard, you're forgiven.
No, why do that? No,
And
wait, let's do it reverse.
I can't say that.
No, let's say I do not forgive myself. Say it.
I do not forgive myself.
So what do you get from that when you say that?
Feel bad again. I really, I do.
I know,
I
it's
really
like
do.
self-abuse.
It is. It's self-abuse. You're right. And
Brian, do you hear that? He overdosed on acid. But doesn't it sound silly?
It does.
I want to hang on to this, and you ain't taking it from me.
It's difficult. It's difficult to let go.
Yeah, it is. Because what would happen?
It's very difficult.
I'll tell you why, but I want you to tell me why. Why is it difficult?
I can't take back what I've done.
But what did you do? You went
I've-
out there to save lives, to help.
Not that. This is the drinking time. This
Okay,
is
you're
how I
talking
hurt
about
people.
that part.
Yeah.
Okay.
But going back to my
Going back to
career
that.
part,
To let
I
that
know
go.
I can't help everybody. I know I couldn't. I've had a lot of. I mean, I've saved a lot of people in the field.
Yeah.
I've gotten pulses back, but they've never left the hospital.
Mm.
You just don't show up on time. You know, no matter how much training you have, how much work you do, you just can't save everybody.
You can't.
You can't. And I'm learning. I accepted that. I did. But the feelings of that, just the aftermath, seeing the family members come in, you know, and knowing that I tried, but it didn't work, you know. But one of the good things about that is you get a pulse back. They're in the hospital. It's enough time for the family to come in and say goodbye. Is the way I see it.
You know, Bernard, your heart, I hear it. I wish the whole world had your heart. You love these people.
I loved helping people. I really did.
I mean, I feel it from you. And that's the grief. You couldn't save them.
No, I couldn't. And
Yeah.
I mean, kids were really hard. It was really difficult working with children.
Just thinking about it.
Really difficult. And I have a few stories about those, and it was really tough. And I mean, every paramedic has stories. Every EMT, every police officer, firefighter.
I know. But did you get a little badge or an honor badge or anything? Have you been honored? Have you been praised? You know how the military comes out and they go, oh, we want to thank you for serving. Give me your hand. We want to thank you for saving those lives.
I've gotten thank yous before.
Look at me.
I've gotten thank yous.
Okay.
I've gotten hugs from family.
You deserve a party.
And every paramedic does.
Maybe we'll do one for him. A ceremony, you know, symbolic. Do you know what I mean?
That should be for every paramedic.
Every single one of them.
Yes.
Absolutely. Look what you're carrying in the pain. Oh, I wish I could take it away, but I don't have my magic wand with me. So proud of you, though.
At least I'm not drinking it away anymore. That's
Yes,
the one good
see,
thing.
that's the blessing.
And I don't have to drink anymore to do that.
And that's the message. We only have a few more minutes left. What would you like to share with other paramedics out there that are struggling with alcohol?
It's not just alcohol. A lot of paramedics have other problems as well. And there needs to be a group. There really needs to be a group, an anonymous paramedic support group, because there really isn't one. The employee assistance program that, you know, your job or employer hands out to you, people don't want to go to that because they don't understand. They don't know what we see.
No, it takes one paramedic talking to another.
Or a nurse, or a doctor,
or
an
a
emergency
police
room, or a
officer.
police officer, a firefighter.
So how
Exactly.
can we get one group started? Maybe you can get one started, let me know about it, and we can start telling the community maybe.
That would be a good thing to start, I believe. I think it would be a great idea, a great
Maybe
program.
you can go to the paramedics, that are department. Give them a flyer, let them know. We got one now.
That would be a great thing to do, great thing to start, because there wasn't one when I was working, now it's one.
Yeah, because you go there and talk in private with one paramedic.
Or just a group of paramedics.
Yeah.
Let it out.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
just
you don't have.
A safe place.
Yeah, and let them know you don't have to drink it away.
Yeah.
You know, tell your stories. Tell it how you feel. Because there's a lot of hurt feelings, a lot of self-hurt. That's what I did. I self-medicated and self-hurt myself. I did it to myself. I just wanted to drink it away. I wanted to forget.
Okay. That's wonderful. Well, thank you so much.
You're quite welcome.
You are
Thank
such
you.
a blessing. What an honor it was to have you here.
Thank you very much for
We're
having
going
me.
to be talking some more about this. I want to end the show by saying that, you know, I just realized that we've been doing this show now for over 6 months. And in a lot of that, I want to thank the Treasure Valley Community TV for giving us this opportunity to bring these shows to help others, and so that we could bring you on so you can help paramedics. I'm hoping.
I would love to do something like that.
Also, I want to thank Tito, who was our first editor, and those who assisted him, and all our volunteers that helped me, and also my production director and video editor, Mr. Scott Shepard, who volunteers his time to help us keep these shows going, and Michael Sean Eagleway, who is my writer and my producer. I also want to thank and express my gratitude to all my viewers, especially those who support me on the Time to Heal Facebook. It's a group page on Facebook. This show has been a new experience for me, as I recognize the responsibility I have that's been entrusted in me to carry a message of hope. I hope I'm doing that. I hope and pray that all my viewers will continue their support as we grow. Join us as we work to bring hope and encouragement to those suffering from addiction and those who love them. Don't give up, because your miracle is on its way. Oh, what a blessing.
Thank you very much.
You almost made me cry.
And
I see the healing in
and I have a great support group. Not only the 12-step program, but my family and my friends.